Dear Journal. Today is Jonathan Klecks' funeral for Corey Barbie channel. Now, you know, he has the Zach Wentz the Wentz channel, 848. Man, that smell of exhaust fumes, deafening. He also has a Jonathan Klecks channel from before, but I'm well aware that it's designed, it's planned out, it's meant to be, it's scripture. So then I do book reports on the kings of the earth, in case anybody who doesn't know that or believe that, or you may just wonder, why does Robin talk about all these people? And what, Robin, why do you show clips of everybody? Like, who are they? They're just, oh, they're the kings of the earth. Right, they have YouTube. Yeah, sure. Like, a king's gonna get behind a YouTube channel and put his face on there and talk. No, you're right. They don't do that. They pretend to be peasants. Like Jacob Israel, for example. I don't know. I never believed in Mars. I never believed in other planets that are really real, but since the YouTube platform, I've realized that they are up there. We're down here, or I'm down here at least. I don't know how many of you are actually down here. But Elon Musk and Donald Trump, I mean, the two of them seems to be teaming up. I know Jonathan Klecks is fading out or decreasing or whatever that, however that role is of John, like John the Baptist. He has to decrease, but it's looking like, I just feel like he's been around for so long, and he came in known as Jesus by, or Lucifer, one or the other, by the people that he provides in order for you to daunt Lucifer's creation. I watched videos from 2016 of Jonathan Klecks, just being as blunt as possible, really, just telling you what's up. I think things have changed, especially since I showed up, because nobody has ever taken clips of these people, right? And whatever position they have, it's at the highest level, or I just wouldn't be paying attention to any of them. They've grabbed my attention. They've shown me that they have abilities to do certain things on the planet, whether it's gang stalking tactics, or, you know, knowing the Super Bowl script, or starting a new beast, a bear market coming up. It was like that beginning of that video, the very first portion of it. What they're going to show me also is that they've given me favor for the Powerball. Now, I don't know if I'll hit it on Jonathan Klecks' birthday, 3/16/2023, but I'll tell you what, for making my first prediction of the Powerball and within 48 hours, half of my picks were displayed on the Powerball. The 55, the 23, the 28, even the 6 was in there. So definitely, I'd have to say the next number, one of the numbers coming up for tonight's Powerball, or even in 2 days from now, or Saturday, is going to be a 50. The reason why I say that is because I'll try to remember this for the future driving home. Well, for tomorrow, I can remember 5:55-ish into the video. I'm going to say one of the numbers is going to be a 50. And that's simply just because the 49 and the 51 were back to back. And what those two numbers tell me, because the lottery is a message to people. I don't know to who exactly, but with the numbers and adding them up and all that. But what the numbers tell me is when I see a 49 and a 51, it tells me 50. It tells me the two have become one when you average it out, and it'll become a 5-0. So there, I think there's a 50 coming up. I haven't really thought about the rest of the numbers yet, but I just want to put it out there. I'm not playing it. I'm not putting money on it until, you know, a couple weeks from now. But the interesting numbers that piqued my interest was my birthday lined up when I was talking about birthday. I was talking about birthday patterns in the lottery. If you see your birthday in there, you're gonna hit, and then it may tell you the age when you're gonna hit. If I followed my portion of it, well, my birthday was actually played on 12/7/2022. It was 6/28. I just seen it yesterday. I didn't even realize it. And I scanned all those numbers, and I didn't even see my birthday, 6/28. But it said 47. I mean, 49. No, wait. This time around, yesterday's last drawing, 1,628. So the first 4 numbers that came out on the lottery, the Powerball, the thing that if you hit it, all of them, you instantly retire and you become very rested, and you actually, the first thing you do is you drift into heaven. You drift into heaven because there's nothing more heavenly than being able to rest. Now, I may be busier than I ever have been in my entire life doing that, but I'm going to be rested. Rest. Because everything I do, I don't have to. Everything I plan on doing, it's going to be because I want to. Which brings a motivation to it. Right now when I go to work, I appreciate my job, but it's just a job and there's nothing ever to it. And there's really no motivation for it because it's something I don't want to do. But if I want to do other things, I need to do that in order to balance it out. I would like to pay this truck off so I don't have a payment. Well, I'm going to have to keep working to do that. And at some point it'll break down and it won't be under warranty, and, you know, pay more money for whatever. So the Powerball is something that you instantly enter into heaven. Now, Greg Laurie, he was saying that when the Powerball was up to $1.something billion, that somebody's going to hit it. And he knew who was going to hit it. I'm not sure who did. I didn't even look in to see where it was from. But he said that somebody's going to hit it. And he knows the Powerball numbers. So does Jacob Israel. So does Jonathan Klecks. So does I'm not sure about all of yous. I'm not sure about all of yous. But I will definitely say Jonathan Klecks and Jacob Israel could tell me the Powerball number right now. If they really wanted me to know it, they would tell it to me. Or at some point, because with Jonathan Klecks fading out and Jacob Israel seems like he's taking the reins, like he's taking over, as if there was some kind of power transfer behind the scenes. And either way, it doesn't really matter, because the Jonathan Klecks that's getting canned right now could be the same person. If Jacob Israel and Jonathan Klecks aren't the same person behind the mask, and Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton and Joe Biden and whoever else and all the other ones, then at the very least, the two have become one anyway. So it's still the same. Whatever was planned out is going to change. It's a halfway point. I feel like this is where the covenant is broken with the 7-year arrangement. But that's only if the arrangement happened back in 2019. But I don't know. I just speculate and talk out loud, and then I hear words through other people's videos that pertains to what I'm saying, so I keep talking, and that's why I keep doing it. If I didn't feel like anybody was paying attention, I would be. There's no point, really. What am I doing this for? I'm not doing it so my family can hear me and try to be convinced of something, if they watch videos or not at certain periods of time. I'm not doing it for money, because I don't make any. I monetize a Walmart video from 2017, and sometimes I get paid a couple bucks for it. But my channel itself isn't monetized, and there's nothing. Why would I do that when I don't even get many views anyway? Jacob Israel is going to be in a major picture movie. I think he said it was the Mandela Effect phenomenon, a documentary. And I remember Derek Bros saying that this is basically it's a documentary, it's a true story, it's a real movie being played out right now. And at some point, it's going to end, and then you're going to see people talking. So if Jacob Israel's in a movie, I'm interested to see that. Are you going to play you? Or are you playing somebody else or whatever? So the Powerball is something that you can instantly step into heaven, because what is heaven? Heaven is a place of rest. You have no master over you, right? Heaven is a place where a bunch of yous have gone, and I am still here because it's meant to be that. Isn't it meant to be the twin system? That twins die? They die at birth. Why do they die at birth? Well, my dad, I heard he had a twin and he died at birth. So my dad stayed down here, and then, or at least my earthly father that on record is said to be my dad, was down here, and his brother dying at birth, it reminds me of the story of Job that I finally listened to and heard the whole story, and I can do a sort of a summary of it from what I can remember. But what I remember is Job talking to these three buddies. And his three buddies always had something to say about him and what he's doing wrong and his sin. And he's just so, you know, it just God's wrath is upon him because of the sins that he's committed. But yet these three people, they never seen the day of light as a baby in the flesh on earth, being raised up, living in the depths of hell, because he was saying that if your soul was in my position where, you know, walking the earth, the boots on the ground, then I could wave my finger at you too and tell you what, you know, the things about yourself. But the only difference is I would assuage your depression, or I would try to encourage you in a way that you would feel better once I'm done. But the reality is you're all just a bunch of miserable company keepers, and it's better if you just shut up, is what Job was telling his three buddies that always had something to say towards him, because in the end it proves that God favored Job's answers and his mentality more than all of his, more than Eliphaz, right? Eliphaz, Bildad or Shudad or something. I don't know if there was 3 or 4. It sounded like there was 3, and then the 4th one, yeah, there was like a younger one that came up, and he started talking at the end. But when God was talking to Job, he said, my anger is kindled against your 2 friends, after he was talking to, I believe it was Eliphaz. So at least there's the 3. And Job knew that you guys are from heaven, because he knows that as soon as he dies, that's exactly where he's going. But he also knew that from birth, the way that you guys have been sacrificed, even though it seems sad on earth when a baby dies at birth, or a twin, you know, or they say the baby dies and they just keep it. They keep the baby, they have the flesh, and then you know, they do whatever, but they take the portion of the baby up to heaven. Now maybe that's what Jonathan Klecks is talking about, which is the evil doppelganger. Why do you get to go to heaven? It doesn't make sense. You have no ruler over you in heaven, if that's what he's referring to. And you have all these things to say, but you don't walk in his shoes, because none of yous have had a bad day in your life. So it sounds like Job knew a lot about how the other system is from a different, basically a portal. Oh, and he called them a bunch of liars. And even when, after they were done, he said, nothing came out of your mouth but falsehood. So he's basically just saying, you might as well just shut up. Rather just die here. Just. But his days will be prolonged and suffering, and even though he knows he's going to be rewarded, but he even said it. I mean, man, I relate to the guy, because I feel like I'm doing the same thing, and I have these devils on the other end telling me about myself and what I should be doing and shouldn't be doing, but yet you lay your heavy burden upon many others, and you dig a ditch for your friend, and you just don't really give 2 shits about other people the way Job does. Job was like a father to the you know, the fatherless, and to the widows, and it just reminds me of someone that would have a YouTube channel that would have at least, what do you say, 14,000 sheep, 5,000 she-asses, or 1,000 here, 1,000. It sounded like he had at least 22,000 subs. At least 22,000. And at some point, Paul Begley, Kim Jean, Skip Heitzing, you know, you guys will be putting, you're going to give me a portion of your wealth, just like they did to Job. And that could just be simply taken care of by hitting the lottery, because when the lottery is hit, all of you has shared the money, right? You do what you want with the money. So maybe this time around when I hit the lottery, it's like sharing, it's like taking a portion out of your bank account, Paul Begley. It's funny how you guys relate to the things I'm going through right now. And then Rahab, the whore. Hiding the, well, not hiding, but sticking up, covering for the two spies. That just reminds me of somebody who always pops out babies or something. I don't know. Your baby popper. Now, was Job rich on the earth before? Or was this more like a YouTube channel that had a bunch of people and maid servants and children? And oh yeah, in the beginning of when the three liars came to Job and are telling him, yeah, Job, we, or the one comes to him and, yeah, your family dies, or your house is on fire, or something or another, whatever they were saying about it. And I'm the only one left that survived from it to tell you about it. So it just sounded like they were lying from the beginning. It sounds like what they were doing was pushing fear porn through spirit. Job basically, instead of enjoying any type of life, or even when he laid his head down on the pillow to go to sleep, he would be tormented by the visions that you guys would send him with your fear tactics of things that are going to happen, and nothing ever does. And then in the end, God tells you to shut up, and then give Job money, and then all is forgiven at the end. But I tell you, man, it just seems like some people, they really enjoy their evil plot all the way to the very end. Even though they know what's going to happen, but they still just, you know, they're in the moment, so hey, you might as well fulfill your role. Do people really feel that way, or is everybody acting? Did you feel that way 42 months ago, and now you just have to fulfill your acting career? And your heart actually changed? Or is it something where you're just going to take it to the very end because you still don't believe it? Well, it's going to happen. Maybe there's only a few people that know the lottery numbers, and when I hit it, it changes everything, because you know that no regular person's going to hit the lottery. You would know at that point the beast system itself that the dragon is in charge of. You would know that that's giving over your power to a mere human being. And on top of that, Job was wondering so much why everybody was so interested in just him as as a weak human being when you guys are of ages of, there's people he's talking about that are older than your father's father. Like, in other words, lived a long time, eons and eons of years beforehand. And it doesn't mean that some of yous aren't really that wise anyway, because these are words from the Bible that Job was talking about. That just because you're old, you don't really understand judgment. And Moses, he didn't see the promised land, and Jonathan Klecks is getting canned, and John the Baptist was beheaded, and it just all seems to tie together with the same stories, with John the Baptist and Jesus, and then Moses, Aaron, you have Joshua. So Joshua picked 12 at one point after, I think, wasn't it him that, well, what it is God shows the signs. So God will take a stream of water and he'll have someone stand beside it, and somebody else will have somebody stand beside. The first thing that happens is this: he'll show a sign that you can go back to and remember. So he has somebody standing next to a rock, cinder block, a dry desert ground, stone, boulders, something that resembles masonry. And out of that masonry, it's not going to be grass. So basically he's going to have somebody stand by something that there's no grass, it's just stone. And then he's going to have somebody stand there, and then he's going to tell Moses to strike the rock. So Moses will strike the rock, water gushes out, and then it seems like Moses was trying to take the credit with him and Aaron, and not give glory to God as if he was the one that struck the rock, but it was really God orchestrating it. So I can see why he was getting on him to basically come clean about it. So things proceeded. Water gushes out of a dry desert ground, comes out of a rock. Christ is the rock, the gospel, the truth, streaming, flowing rivers in the city of God, making him glad. Then he'll do the same thing, but this time around he's going to take you to the Jordan River or the Red Sea, or is it both? And he's going to walk by it, and then what he's going to do is he's going to dry up the rivers. And then that reminds me of drying up the rivers of Euphrates. Euphrates dried up, and the symbolism means that God is able to dry things up and then make them flow again and gush out to the point of overflow. Just like those streams of water that stopped at 8:48 a.m. Because Jonathan Klecks needed to show me something. And it's the same thing Barack Obama was saying. So that's what I was being shown. And then that reminded me of the Moses and Aaron situation. Because back then I didn't really feel like it was particularly to glorify God, the spirit, just in spirit. I thought it was more as be still, know that I am God, meaning Jonathan Klecks was trying to tell me something. Is he the God of the world, or the God of the underground, or the Lord in heaven, or is he the angel of the bottomless pit? Is he really from the pit? Does he control the pit? I mean, it seems like it, but I don't really know. I just know at some point I'm not going to have to try to convince anybody of anything. I really do feel like there's only a few people that actually believe. And that 7,000 that haven't bowed their knee to Baal, I just can't imagine. Or maybe everything has already been played out about 42 months ago or so. And then here we are where, like Skip, when he's talking about the Bible, literally. Yeah, well, Matthew Daly was talking about the same thing. Interpreting it in a spiritual was so ridiculous, it made him sick. You know, I needed to shut up. But what it is, yeah, the Bible's played out literally, and in spirit. So, there's a group that is already in play to play it out literally. And then what they're going to try to do is play it out literally to the one who his role is just to strictly play it out in spirit. But what they try to do is get, you know, it's like, it reminds me of the story of Job and his buddies that were lying to him because they're just pushing fear, because there's devils controlling them, and they're liars. So they're pushing the fear, how these things are going to literally take place, but yet they tell them stories and say, I'm the only one that survived to tell you. And it just sounds like a lie, because he called them liars. That's Job called them liars. And then they say all these things to make it seem like he's getting ready to basically just be freaking nailed to a cross in a literal sense, just like Christ. But in the end, you can see that these things weren't literal. These things are all in spirit. And then Job gets tenfold back. So it's like taking the Bible literally and trying to literally play it out to the person that fulfilled it in spirit, as somebody else fulfilled it in the literal script world, where he wasn't touched either, he wasn't hurt, nobody was damaged, but the one in spirit fulfilled it at the same time. And then it's time to really do it for real this time, Rob. And oh yeah, you want to follow Jesus? Okay, we're going to show you how literal the Bible is. It's like that egghead, Petco 2. Finally stood up with the wounded head and all. And that all-seeing eye serpent slithered his way out of there. And he stood up, and that was the end of it. It's over from that point on. And that's what I feel. It's coming to an end. And I feel like Jacob Israel's, if he's not Elon Musk, then he's his son. But it's looking like he's Elon. He's looking like he's in charge of the system, the YouTube platform. I thought Derrick Rose was. But I'm starting to consider that Jacob Israel really is. And maybe it's Steve Benoon at the top of the list. But remember, Moses did more miracles than Abraham, Isaac, or Jacob. All of them. He did all those miracles, but yet he couldn't receive the promised land. Is that because he was going home? The promised land meaning on earth, where heaven comes down here, but he gets to go home because he did his job. Is that what that means? I don't know. But the main way to do that is just I'm gonna give you Powerball numbers and just make sure that they're the ones that line up, all 6 of them, every time that I make a request, because money has had such a tight grip on people. The love of it. Oh, I love money, all right. I would love to get all the money in the world and just distribute it where it's needed to make the world just a more, you know, like heaven, basically. Hey, you guys that are from heaven, right? The fallen angels, the ones that came down here, or at least you came down and through the YouTube medium. I tell you, heaven sure is, I mean, that must be nice, right? You didn't have to take a breath. You never had to deal with the mouth of the oppressor, have you? You always had heaven from birth. Must be nice. And then it's like the Joe buddies, where they're all telling him things that, you know, he shouldn't do, and it's like, you're from heaven. Like, come on. So is that what it is? The twin system. The twin. My twin was gas chambered from the beginning, right? My mom had to choose if you know, I was born that way, because my mom was a Polak, just like that movie. Now, I'm going to tell you, this is a gang stalker. You know why I know? Because I'll show you the picture. I just seen that. Just the other day on my Google Images, it said the same thing. So to Robin. Well, there you go. I'm talking about the Powerball. It's coming to Robin. It's the dragon gives his power over to the beast. He already gave it over to the beast, and then here comes another 42-month beastly system, or maybe a bear market. But that's only if I have 3 ribs in my teeth. Would that happen? Because a bear, but an imprint, you would have to be walking the earth, right? If the bear market's coming in March. Yeah, it's too good to be true for me to hit the lottery. But I did put up my numbers, and I put up only 5 of them, and 3 of them came across. I put up 5 numbers because I forgot to put the Powerball number up. 28, 23, and 55. They all hit 2 days later. It didn't hit the same night, but it hit 2 days later. Because maybe the numbers are already in play. So the beast system is the system that I believe Jacob Israel has all the say in the world, and he can do what he wants. He's been given that authority from the landlord of planet Earth. Now, I don't think Jacob's actually from Earth. I think he's from Mars, like he claims. And Mars isn't really what we were told it was. Like, it's some kind of dry planet. There's no whatever, no life form on there. But I don't think Mars is more than 10 miles in the sky. And it just doesn't look very far. The red planet. There were 2 stars last night that they just look like It just, like, I basically reach out and touch them. My son was saying the sky was glitching last night, but is that because, is he actually saying that, or was he just told to say that? Because that's part of the mind conditioning of when Jacob was talking about the Mandela effect. And I looked at the trailer from the 3 years ago, and it was showing that how the sky was glitching and things just weren't real. And the one dude reminded me of me. It kind of reminded me of what, you know, you see these things and you can't even, everybody's acting like you're out of your mind, or they don't even know, but what the hell is going on in this world? Yeah, it's easy to point the finger at people when you've been born either just with advantage from heaven or as an elite on earth, rich. You never had to actually work, and you become a judge. So it's, Job was having a tough time. It's like no matter what he does, he can wash his hands in pure snow white and wear white raiment, garments, and God will still flick him into a ditch, and even his clothes will abhor him or hate him. It's like God is just punishing Job, and everybody else gets away with it. People that are scorning God, they get away with it. They live in comfortable homes. And just like he said, he wished he never would have had a breath coming out of the womb. He should have been silent. That way he would be up in heaven with the princes and the kings, and where they ruin desolate lands, or they inhabit desolate lands, and they have gold and silver and riches overflowing. But no, he had to live and then walk the earth. But yet the babies that die at birth, and we cry for them because they don't have to deal with the flesh. They get to go home immediately. Did I have a twin? And has my twin been communicating with me through the YouTube platform from heaven? Because there sure are a lot of shenanigans going on with my life, especially that baby picture. It's just phenomenal disclosure with that one picture and everything in it, the symbolism. Now I see three characters. The Nephilim with the wider nose, the tongue sticking out, between my sister and the serpent at the top left-hand side. And then Kiss, he has his tongue sticking out too. And then apparently my mom, my dad, I'm sitting on his lap, because it damn sure doesn't look like my actual pop, William. Stephen James said one time that my dad was a mafia grunt worker. He did go to jail. It involved a gun. I was told it was burglary, robbery of a store. I wonder, was my dad a hitman? I mean, I don't know. Who knows? I don't know. I just hear these things, and I know some things are thrown out there, but others are, I don't want to believe it. But the way people are giving me the information, it's not in a fearful tactic way. You know, it's not like a Kim Jong tactic or a Skip Heitzing tactic. Oh yeah, and I'm not inferior to any of you. So please, you were just born with advantage. That's all. So back to the lottery. It's not bad. My first actual prediction, putting the numbers out there, and then not that drawing at that night, but the other drawing, the next one, I got half the numbers. For the first time I've ever predicted the numbers. I have half of the numbers. Technically 2, because I had said 23, but 23 was the Powerball. But read between the lines, all right? Read between the lines of that Powerball. I don't really think that I can predict it. I just think that I'm just gonna be given the numbers. I may be given the numbers and correctly interpret the numbers, but there's no way I can just off the top of my head predict the Powerball and win. It has to be more of a spiritual guidance to give me that information. And people that say that, you know, whether you have it in your spirit or you're still a devil, and you're just hired, as if this is something of being money hungry. Well, yeah, you're right, I am. I'm hungry for money. Aren't you? Isn't that why you lie, cheat, and steal, and tell stories? Will you lie for God to the 3 buddies? Will you lie to God? Because Job was telling the truth, and he knew you guys are liars, and you just point the finger. Just so sickening. I actually get angry listening to the story of Job. It kind of sickens me. And yeah, Job will talk with the anguish of his heart. Because he's the only one. So Job, I'm glad you're in heaven. I'm glad you're there now. You deserve it. I feel you, man. I feel you. I'm going through the same thing down here. It's almost like history repeats itself. Hypocrites, liars. But in the end, good friends. So be it for now. It has to be this way. Animosity. But maybe you just don't truly believe, and that's what it is. Because it's like, well, what do you want me to do? So Kim Jean's saying to me, what do you want me to do, Robin? You want me to worship God and what? Give up all my money and my riches and everything? What's the point? Well, no, just do what you do. Do what you got to do. And then to Joshua, the son of none, like a son of a nobody, also reminds me of whoever is playing Christ in the system. Wouldn't it be funny if Satan was playing Jesus and he was acting like he was a peasant? It's his system, right? It's his sickening, disgusted, twisted system. But he's not even like that anymore. He's really Jesus in disguise. He's a wolf in sheep's clothing. But he's a wolf, and he transforms into a sheep. I don't care what people think. I used to. I don't care anymore. I don't care what clips people take of mine. I don't care if people make videos about me. It's still even an honor, like John Wise. He's consumed with bird watching. Now, I don't truly know who you are. I don't truly know if you're acting or not. I think you are, I'm pretty sure you are, but I can't be certain. Because I don't think you're that dumb, but then again, there are some dumb people out there still, and they just... And then there's other people that just, they don't have faith, so they don't believe. They see what they see, and they know they're God, and they're rich as hell, and they ain't trying to give up anything. And they're already following Jesus as it is, because Jonathan Klecks gave them the glory. They gave them the host body, the Spirit of Christ being crucified within, flowing with milk and honey. Well, when you go from male to female, and you're lactose, and you've turned it in, and it's going up, and there's milk, and it's like you're getting breast milk. There's your milk from your own body. What was that saying? Turning in your little clip, your little red clip. I believe Skip was talking about that story, talking about your penis, giving your penis up for, giving up your little red clip for a 2-story farmhouse, which means the 2 spies, they had guts. Judas, nah, he spilled his guts. I think he may have traded in a paperclip for a 2-story farmhouse. Because what happens is you go from male to female. You have boobs, you have a milking system, and then there's also, just like Jacob was talking about today with the eagles, all of a sudden they're having a hard time keeping their eggs warm. And what are eggs? Well, eggs are embryos. What's semen? Eggs. Because the egg goes into the, the ovary of the woman. And it's their eggs, cooking them up, keeping them warm. 2-story farmhouse. So you can produce eggs, milk, and honey. I mean, that's amazing to me. That is amazing that a body, a human body, can produce that. Just rearrange the right way, as 223 26616 is calling me, talking about that system. So I'm blown away by it. Where the eagles nest and warming the eggs, and lukewarm and stirring up the pot and sacrificing children to Satan, eating your own children. It's all about food, really. And then you'll have these 3 Job's friends trying to tell Job what to do with himself. And just like Paul said, after all, it's all dung. What are you concerned about what someone does with their sparks of life? You're only going to turn it into food and feed yourself, right? And then you're going to poop it out. So isn't it all dung anyway? It's either you produce life and you bring a child into hell, or when the child dies at birth, it goes to heaven. Do they not go to heaven? The souls? Or does it have to be birthed out of the body first and then die and then go to heaven? But either way, it's all just food. I wish I didn't have to eat food. I wish I wasn't tired. I wish I wasn't in this flesh. I wish I would die. So the fear of death, there isn't one. The devils that still push the fear of things happening, whatever, when it happens, it happens. Other than that, so be it. This is the way it is. There's life after death. That's when you first start living. And it's not like you just don't know that. So that's my book report of Job.